And we're back with another episode of Astrogation Discussion Round. Sorry we're late. It's just me and Faisal today. Hi, everybody. How you doing today,
Welcome.
Faisal?
I've been great. Never been better.
Never been better. So, did you catch yesterday's live stream?
Yep. We saw. I've seen a lot of good stuff in that live stream. Yeah, and I think it's a good all rounder, really.
I think you're the only one that has that opinion.
Really? Nobody liked it?
I'm not gonna say nobody liked it. There were definitely people defending. That seemed to like it, and then there were people that I'm gonna just start the live stream on the back end. So there were people that seemed to like it, and were definitely being called white knights. To the point to where the moderators had to delete messages where they were calling people white knights.
Okay, interesting. Why did people hate it?
All right, so I think purely because of Steven's gameplay.
Okay.
So the idea behind that is that if you're people are only going to see if you're displaying your game poorly, that's what people can only take what they're seeing, right? So if you're not just everything about what he was doing, no, I don't think anybody liked. The UI, no one had any problem. No one had any problems with. People only really had good things to talk about. But in terms of actual class gameplay, the actual tank showcase, not a whole lot of people had a lot of good stuff to say about. No, everybody was kind of mad about it.
In terms of gameplay or in terms of mechanics?
Everything, because he wasn't showing off mechanics well either, and you only had 3 skills that really did anything aggro related, and he wasn't holding aggro, he wasn't using his skills, he wasn't doing what his class should be doing. He wasn't showing off the tank very well. And in their defense, I will say these couple things. One, they prefaced at the beginning of the stream that they were going through a higher level area that was designed for 8-man parties.
Okay.
And I will say that I think there are 2 big reasons why Steven's gameplay in both the cleric showcase and the tank showcase have been received extremely negatively by the community. One, I think Steven falls into the same kind of trap that I think a lot of content creators fall into, especially newer ones, of where they can't play the game and show off the game at the same time. Like talk to their audience and and show off the game and all these other things that where their actual gameplay performance takes a drop because of content creation.
Fair enough.
The dip can be whatever, but there is a noticeable dip, and that's a frequent thing with a bunch of content creators. Number 2, I think they do these recordings. I think they try to get a last minute build out. They try to get the newest build of whatever they're working on out, and then make a video for what they're showcasing.
Well, and clearly, yes, because that's happened multiple times already.
yeah. Well, that's my point. And then they do the recording literally the day before or night before, or literally, or sometimes even hours before the stream, and they don't give themselves time to really edit. They don't do edits for the video because they want it to be raw footage. They want it to be raw footage, first takes kind of thing. They want it to be more organic, kind of like that. Some people would prefer it in a different kind of way. People, and they did and just to preface this as well, they did a re-recording and for the tank preview video, and they posted that on their YouTube channel. They did not post the live stream that was shown yesterday on their YouTube channel. They did a re-recording.
I mean, they did have like how many hours of technical error? Was it 1 or 2?
They had audio error. They had audio error and a few other things.
So we had to wait extra essentially.
Yeah. That's one of the complaints during the live stream is that like the sound when skills are going off or when they're fighting monsters is too damn loud where people actually have to mute the fucking live stream. There's too much going on. They thought it was too loud. People had to mute the live stream. But yeah, there are a lot of people in chat just saying yeah, it's just it comes down to like if Steven's not showing off the class very well, then like two of those, I do believe that the content creation one in the last hour one is a valid kind of a thing. I would probably say that the high level area one, some of these so all those to be fair points I think also fall out the window if Steven's not even playing the class correctly, right?
Okay.
So if you can say 100%, you can say like, hey, this area is too high level, or the mobs are too high level, and we're lower level, and it's made for a party size of 8, where our party size is like 4. They had they had tank, they had warrior, they had cleric, and they had ranger.
Yes.
In their party.
But again, you don't know what type of gear that they're using, nor how that scales. You know?
Yeah, 100%. You don't know that like the main objective going through the
No, like okay, you had like basically 2 objectives. One was showing off the tank, and 2, the showing off that dungeon or that's like that area in particular. Call it what you want.
No, I don't think showing off the area. I don't like. We know the game looks good. We know the enemy type.
I mean showing off bosses and stuff.
Don't even think that like the bosses we saw were nothing. Like I actually prefer the phantoms from Alpha 1 and Alpha 0 more than I prefer the phantoms that we saw in this preview. And also they like none of the enemy types we saw were like really new or unique. We didn't see the area was kind of new with the giant tree and going through the place, and we saw the minotaurs and the phantoms, but it's still the grass. It was still the grasslands. We saw the map, stuff like that. The 2 objectives for this live stream, which are on the forums and they're wanting feedback for, is showing off the new UI, like the quest logs and stuff like that, and showing off the tank preview. People had nothing bad to say about the UI. People had good things to say about the UI.
I thought the UI looked really well.
Yeah, it was clean. It was good. People didn't have anything bad to say about the UI. People had good things to say about the UI. The actual tank preview though is where people fell off and did not like it. Like it had negative. It was received negatively and got a lot of feedback, a lot of criticism and feedback.
The thing is, I don't see any difference whatsoever from the other, like cleric to what's it called, the
warrior and ranger one.
Archer, yeah, the ranger and warrior previews. Like I see no gameplay difference at all.
All right, so. They were both. There's 2 different formats. There's 2 different formats for those too. So people didn't like the cleric one. People hated the cleric one.
Mm-hmm.
People liked the ranger and warrior ones because, like, he's actually going through the skills, showing off what it's the format that's shown in the re-recording video, right? He's going through the skills, showing what they do, He's talking about them more. He's actually using them, and like you can see, when he's going to the mobs, he actually attacks them and goes through things and actually shows off the class. In the tank preview in the cleric video, he even says it himself inside the re-recording, inside like the comments that were said about this. When he tries to record, and the format was in those. When he tries to record those, he says he's trying to record them in a new person perspective. Like a new player kind of like, but like new players don't fucking play like that. At least I don't fucking at least I don't think. Like sometimes in the tank video, you can see him back away from the fight and look at how the fight's going on. He's not using his abilities. You can see in the thing, like there's several times where the skills are off cooldown. He's not showing off how aggro works. His teammates die because of it. He's not using his the aura ability that does the damage reduction. He's using his Aegis probably a bit too much because it makes it to where like you receive damage more. Like you said, his gear is probably under leveled compared to everybody else. If you're wanting to show off the shield, how the shield and mace work, you probably should have started off with a shield and mace.
I guess
the explorer, like people know how to play MMOs. People know that kind of stuff. Even like people that are new to your game, new to it, are probably aware of. I've probably played an MMO. Like they're probably still new to Astra Creation and stuff like that. But I don't think you need to show off. Like he's trying to show off the game, right? And everyone knows the game looks good.
I think I get your point. I think the point came across. Is basically, if he wants to do these types of videos, he should be doing it not necessarily on the side, but have it categorized. Like this is one way of doing the video. Then there's the other one, the technical one. For example, like the fighter one. Remember?
The fighter one and the ranger one were the more technical ones, and showing off the stuff. And that's how the re-recording was kind of done. And people liked the re-recording 1,000 times better than they liked the one that was actually in the live stream.
Yeah,
the one that was in the live stream was received extremely negatively and got nothing but, well, I'm not gonna say nothing, but it got a lot of criticism and feedback. Well, I want to say negative feedback, not like positive. Like, hey, like there are people that are like, hey, you're doing great and stuff like that, and being super like positive about shit. But even I'm gonna say those people are fucking white knighty. Like, yeah, I want to support Intrepid Studios, but don't just say everything that they do is good and golden. Like if you don't like the direction of the game, like if you don't like, don't be super negative. Don't be like your dog. Like I was hearing this a lot too. Like you're like Steve was just playing like dog shit. He's garbage and stuff like that. Don't just say that, right? Because that's just being negative. That's just being negative, and you're not giving really any kind of actual feedback. Now, no ways to actually improve, but yeah, give constructive criticism. Give constructive feedback. Say, hey, this is probably
yes, but I need to throw this point across now, because how many people were watching the live stream, or how many people in general just watched it? I assume it's a lot more than what it used to be. So there's always going to be a percentage of people that are gonna be that type of negative.
100%.
They're just gonna say.
Steven was dog shit and all that stuff. Like that was in the chats. That was in like every chat. Like it's on the forums. It's on the Discord. It crowding the Discord. It was it was all over the Twitch chat too. They're caught I only really watched like there were content creators that streamed after the tank video and talked about the tank video that day, like there always are. I really only watched Jolon and the Golden Feather. I didn't stick around. I was kind of already done with the tank conversation after that point, so I didn't really stick around for anybody else. Sorry to everybody else that streams Asher Creation or does kind of like what we're trying to do as well.
No, I just passed out beforehand. Like,
well, it's extremely late for you. It's extremely late right now for you too, right? Like that live stream was.
Like, I think it reached till 1 a.m. in the morning, so I was like, yeah, I'm toast.
Yeah.
What's it called? Like, I dipped it before it ended for like 10 minutes before it ended, something like that. So I kind of got the gist of it. I thought in general it's fine. Sure, I would have appreciated a more technical what's it called? Tank video to explain every move that's happening. But regardless, he kind of did. He showed off what's it called? The tank being with one-handed sword. Then they showed him with a shield. They showed off a couple of two-handed sword. My bad. Then one hand, like the mace and the shield, and they showed off a couple of abilities. I think the first ability was turned off because he didn't have the shield equipped, right?
No, you can see him use the charge. I'm not gonna say that's a shield charge. I'm gonna start calling it a charge, even without the shield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can see him use the charge even without a shield on. None of those skills seem to be shield dependent.
Yeah. So it's mostly class dependent. So if you pick a tank, you could just use it whenever.
He's
Good
left
to know.
He left clicks a lot in the majority in the original video, and doesn't really use his skills. That's the kind of thing. Like though, is like yes, as he's going through it, you can kind of see you can see he goes through some of the abilities. He scrolls in when he activates the aura for the first time. He scrolls in. It's the same way with the cleric video.
Yes.
People prefer to like be able to see what all the skills are at the beginning of the video. It seems, and
people
know
just like
what the skills are.
Technical videos in general.
People enjoy technical.
They do it for all types of games, like the League of Legends, for example, Champion Spotlights. What's it called? Overwatch. They also do that as well.
Yeah. All those games when they're showing off a new character or showing off a class, they go through the skills first, right?
Yeah, essentially.
And then you go into actual gameplay and get gameplay footage. This is that's definitely the format that's preferred. It seems because
that's what people are used to.
I would still say it's the thing people prefer because especially in terms of Asher Create, because you saw the feedback we got, like how the original video, the original live stream was taken, and then how the cleric live stream was taken, and then how the re-recording was taken.
The reason I'm saying this is what people are used to is because it's extremely commonly spread throughout other video games, just as I was saying.
Yeah.
They're very used to a certain format. It's a really good format. There's nothing wrong with it. So when they saw a new format coming in, they would be like, nope, we just want that because it's the best so far.
The problem, all right, so the real problem with the original stream is that Steve, like even when Steven's using, like shows off the abilities, he's not using them. Like he's not actually showcasing the tank. Throughout the original stream, Steven's not really showing off the tank, and so it shows the game in a negative light to a lot of people.
Is there by any chance like a document that tells you what the abilities are?
There's no document that people
or like just in general
are making documents. You'd have to not really. You can't like say you have to look at the forums. You have to look at the Discord. You have to look at the stream yesterday to see how everyone was taking it. Like I said, there are people that were in support of it. but they were generally just brushed aside as white knights. I'm even like even here. You're in defense. You're in defense of it. I'm
No,
I'm
wait. I'm not in defense of anything. I'm just saying that I thought it was okay. Like,
but
sure, I would have, as I said, like, sure, I would have appreciated a more technical view, and I still wish for that, so I understand what the tank is a lot more. Because that doesn't mean that it was extremely bad. That's what I'm saying.
it showed the game off badly though. Like you don't show off the combat in a good way. In a good like combat is a lot of what a game what an MMO is to a lot of people. Like it's a good chunk of why people enjoy will enjoy your MMO. And so if you don't show it off in a good way, then it's like people are gonna be. I'm not gonna say people won't come back to it or still like watch and wait and watch, but
Yeah.
it definitely does a turn off, especially to newer people if they don't like what they see with the combat. And a lot of people didn't like what they saw yesterday with the combat because Steven wasn't really showing the combat off in a good way.
I guess. Like, I guess in that sense, sure. If he was playing a tank, he wasn't fulfilling his role properly. Sure.
Yeah, he wasn't fulfilling. It's not. It's you can make arguments and defenses of, hey, this is a high level area. Like we said, this is a high level area. It's 8-man thing, but those defenses only come into check if you're actually playing, and then dying. If you're not even doing your class correctly, if you're not using abilities, if you're not playing the class actually correctly, then you can't use a lot of those defenses.
Yeah.
And that's what happened yesterday. He doesn't cycle through any abilities. There's lots of times where his abilities are off cooldown. There's times where he backs away from the fight, even though the fight's still going on, and all the rest of his party is still fighting, and he's looking at the fight, looking at the effects, looking at the environment and stuff like that, showing off the game, but not showing off the tank. And that's what people are there to see is the tank. Everyone knows the game looks good. Everyone can see that the game even new people can see that the game looks good from a perspective from like you just playing the game. If you want to show off that the like the environment and stuff like that, do like a ranger video. Do like you did in the ranger video. Do like you did in the warrior video, to where it's like you're in an area. You have a spot where you can pause at, because like Steven doesn't pause. Like Steven pauses in area, like they're in a dungeon, mobs are respawning, and they don't really have a chance to like actually like they're pulling mobs constantly.
Yeah. Sure. Like,
You shouldn't be showing.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I do get your point. In that regard, like, he's showing off a dungeon where there's a lot of respawns. If you wanted to show the environment, he would have went to an area that showed the environment and not get distracted by other things.
There are also other videos to show off the environment, right?
I think how you're looking at it, or other people are looking at it, is very objectively. So, like, they wanted to see how the tank worked. And like, you would have loved seeing it in phases, essentially. Like, okay, how the tank looked, environment. Okay, let's do a dungeon and see how it plays out. That type of thing. I think, if that's what I'm getting at. Or are you getting at?
I think even this format still would have worked out fine if Steven was just using the abilities and actually playing the tank, playing the tank correctly. and showing off. Like you can show off the dungeon and all that stuff. This format's not 100% wrong. It's just how Steven was presenting Steven was presenting it that was taken negatively. Like,
Okay.
So extremely negatively. Like I said, and there are other videos you can show off. Saying like, "Hey, this is a tank preview," is one thing.
Yeah,
and that's what people expect. People are expecting when you say that. Even through the lens of probably a new person.
Fair enough. Honestly, on point criticisms. We'll file this report and send it to Steven right away. I mean, sure, they could have done a bit of a better job in presenting the tank, or at least try to segment it out. Or if they wanted it to be more of a natural thing, at least they could have scripted it a bit, if that makes sense.
Steven doesn't like to do scripts.
Yeah, which he's trying to make things extremely organic. So if that's the direction that he's going for, then by all means, I guess. Or what do you think?
All right, so there's always the criticism of, hey, do gameplay, play the game, and then do if you have that streamer mentality, if you have that streamer thing of like, hey, I can't play the game and talk about the game at the same time. There's the thought process of, hey, record the video, play the game, record your gameplay, and then do a voiceover afterwards, or like you said, do some more scripted stuff. Some people also suggest having an arena set up to where like you have an arena, the boss spawn like a mob spawns in the middle of it, or you have set mob spawn location like a test area, and where the monsters are spawning in it, and they're basically test dummies, and they're basically training dummies, and so it's like a more controlled environment, so you can show off what's going on with the class.
Fair enough. Tank dummies.
There's nothing wrong with showing off group gameplay, especially when you're showing off like a tank or a cleric.
Okay,
go ahead.
Let me ask you this: what did you enjoy from that stream?
It was mostly I was in the watch party, right? And so like
Yes.
it was mostly taken negative. Like even like in the discussions afterwards, everything was taken fairly negatively. I liked the UI. I'm in this same kind of vote as everyone else. I like the UI. Well, and like I keep saying, the game looks great. The game looks pretty and stuff like that. The world is nice of Ashes of Creation, but we see that we know that it's not it's not something that has to be hammered home to us each and every fucking time. The armors are fucking 3D renders of the cosmetics we've already seen, like the Titan bark armor that they're working on getting the entire time. So it's not like you're seeing any kinds of new armors or stuff like that. They don't have a resurrection skill go off. They use GM cheats to res people. The cleric's not resing anybody. There's no animation for the res. They just pop back up. The skills, only like 2 of them are new, right? The other ones are just the same ones we had inside Alpha 1. We saw the resource that the tank gets, and in the Discord, like someone asked in the Discord, and Steven had said, one second, I can't look at it right now. But someone asked if like the design philosophy for moving forward is that someone asked if like every class is going to have their own resource because they showed off the cleric resource in the cleric video of Benediction or whatever the fuck it's called, and then the tank has its own resource that they talked about in this video. I forget what it's all called as well. And so Steven had talked about how moving forward, the design philosophy is for every class to have their own resource. Which there's Ash Creation is not the first game to do that. Whether that's a good thing or not, we'll find out in Alpha 2 when we finally get our hands on it and be able to get feedback on the actual resource and how it's implemented. How do you feel about every class having its own resource?
Wait, having its own resource? What do you mean again by that? Sorry.
So you know how in games your basic resources are health, stamina, and mana, and then sometimes like you'll have other things like the cleric will have faith, rage. Well, no, that's and then Ash Creation you have Benediction, which is like this resource that you build up as you do damage to mobs. You can increase the healing efficiency of your skills as well.
Yes.
I forget what the tank resource does, even though we saw it just yesterday.
I did not notice these resources before.
Yeah. So every class now, moving forward should have its own resource. And that's basically okay. That's what they said yesterday. Like that's what the comments in Discord were saying. Of hey, design philosophy moving forward is basically every class has its own resource.
Okay. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, like I said, we're gonna have to wait and see how that goes in Alpha 2. Like I'm not going to 100% say there are a lot of people saying like the game is in a bad spot. I want to refund my package and stuff like that. Like the game, like the actual people are not happy right now. And for valid reasons, right? We haven't had a play test. We haven't like Alpha 1 was a year ago. It wasn't in 2022. It was in 2020. It was at the end of 2021. People have been waiting. People have been waiting a year. We're just now seeing active blocking was talked about back in Alpha 1. We were talking about active blocking back then. We're just now seeing it come online with the cleric and tank videos, and we're still talking about, hey, do we want this to be tied to stamina in some way? Do we want this to have a resource? We want it to eat up mana? We're still having those kinds of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
People just feel it's been 5, almost 6 years now. For the game's development, for the game's development, people have been following it. Some people are just very frustrated with where the game is. People feel like the game should be in a further along state. You have Riot announcing they're going to have an MMO. You have Arcade 2 announcing they're going to have
for a while though.
It's been speculation for a while, yeah. But like when it was actually announced, and like Arcade 2 announcing that's coming out. If it's not pay to win, people think that it's going to be a direct competitor. Like, I don't think Riot's going to be tackle different audiences. The Riot MMO is going to tackle different audiences. I think it's not going to be a really competitor. The Arcade 2 though, that's looking at what they're talking about. They want for the Arcade 2, and then also like AOC is just basically better Arcade for a lot of people, right? Like it's what
essentially,
yeah. And so like if Arcade 2 is just a better non-pay-to-win Arcade 1, then it's basically competing with what Ash Creation is. And especially if they go full action combat, you're going to have the people that want action combat moving over to Arcade 2, and because AOC is more of a tab-focused hybrid combat system, that's already rubbing your action combat people the wrong way, but your tab people are going to like it, right?
Yeah.
We saw that in the fighter video, and we saw that in the ranger video. When the fighter video came out, everyone was thinking, "Oh, they're moving to fucking action. They're moving to action combat. The game's gonna be great. They're gonna drop tab. It's gonna be action combat all the way. It's gonna be great." And the tab people were in the same thought process, and were like, and super
with the ranger.
No, yeah, with the Ranger it was the exact opposite thing. The tab people were thinking like, "Hey, the game's gonna be action combat with the fighter video," and then when the Ranger combat video came out,
See, hybrid system. They're appeasing to both audiences.
The problem with that is that the Ranger's the problem in a lot of MMOs, like because like ranged combat, you're like you can just fire off from far away and then leave. You can add gap closers into a game, but they don't really like provide the balance that's there. Tanks are always at melee characters are always generally at a disadvantage in games.
Well, it really, I mean,
it depends on the game, but
no, I was going to say it depends on the abilities. Like if there is a lot of gap closers for tanks and fighters to get close to rangers, or a ranged mage or rangers or.
But rangers generally have like rangers, mages and stuff like that. Generally have like getaways. You have a blink. You have like a dot. You have like a giant leaf. True. You have giant leaf abilities and stuff like that. So you can get like you have just as much mobility as that class as the other class has gap closers. So and generally you're the more mobile class too, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so people enjoy mobility in their games, but mobility adds an imbalance to games. That I don't think anyone's like really like trying to closed off.
Okay.
But yeah.
Did you like the Zelda grass?
I loved the Zelda. But like, all right, so UE 5.1 deals with foliage a lot and like lighting and reflective surfaces and stuff like that. It improves upon what UE 5 basically did. And like I said, like the game, we already know the game looks good. They're doing incredible things with like the environment and stuff like that. But like it's not what I'm looking for. Well, I've already seen it, right? Like I'm especially like one of the, I've been following the game for the entire time since Kickstarter. I'm a PI member. I watch every live stream. I do the podcast. I want to make more content around Asher Creation. I'm just lazy about it.
Aren't we all, buddy? Aren't we all?
Yeah. So like I've seen everything. I follow everything the game has to offer. I've seen everything the game has to offer. So like again, if you're somebody that like I get that they're trying to show like the live streams aren't for everybody, they're for the newer audience, but I don't even think that the newer audience need you to show off the environment as much as Steven tries to show off the environment. They can naturally see what's going on, or like when they get into the game they can explore the world themselves and take in all the beauty. When people are looking for when people are looking for like a live stream, they want you to show off your game in the best way possible. And coming at it from the direction that Steven took it from, I think it rubbed people the wrong way.
I guess
to actually provide feedback on like 100, like you can judge the game, like combat and game and like the mechanics of the game based on what you saw, what you're seeing. But
I mean,
getting your hands on the game is a completely different thing, right?
Yes, 100%. Like I was about to say that, like they have the full right to basically say, this is not gonna work out for me, or this is gonna be it for me, from Steven's gameplay, and all means to them. But it's still a very different experience when you have it in your hands and playing the game.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's an extremely different experience. That's when you can actually feel if, like, hey, this is actually doing what's supposed to be. This actually feels good. This, these resources that we have aren't working. Like, get rid of them. I don't like them. The active blocking sucks. One criticism about the active blocking, that I've been a part of conversations like this. People don't like. How do you feel about the fact that active blocking does not do full damage mitigation? It does a percent. It does like a percent of damage mitigation.
I think it's interesting.
I think the reason they have it that way is because they don't have a resource tied to it right now.
Yeah, I was about to say that, and I'm not 100% sure.
A
But
lot of the, go ahead.
No, I was just still thinking about it. But
Okay,
like,
I'll give you a second. Okay, so I'm gonna keep talking while he's gone. So there's no open airspace. Yeah, people just didn't like the like most of the shit was going on.
Sorry, just had to close the door.
It's all good. So a lot of the conversation that was going on about that stuff, and I like if you have this kind of feedback, if you're watching this and you had this kind of feedback, go over to the forums and give your feedback. Participate in the office hours. Give your feedback. The forums are the main way of getting feedback and stuff like that. Like that, like you need to provide feedback for them to actually change the game. Just
if you don't know how to put your thoughts in typing, but you're good at speaking, go to the office hours.
Go to the office hours. They record the office hours. The devs listens to the office hours while they're working on the game. It's very important that you're if you're wanting the game to be if you have a criticism about the game and you're wanting the game to improve, you have to provide that feedback. Don't just say, "Oh, the game's dog shit," or "I don't care about this one. I don't care about this," or like yada yada yada. You have to actually provide fucking criticism. Don't like troll and say like, "I don't care about PvP," blah 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 blah. Yeah, boy, don't use the office hours as a space to fucking be a troll. Don't provide like just straight up negative criticism like Steven's just fucking dog shit. Dog shit player, fucking he's a skill clicker. Actually provide I like I said, like you can only like really judge based on what you're seeing, and that's why like Steven's core gameplay and the fact that he does click skills is what you're seeing, but you need to actually provide actual constructive feedback. No one's gonna respond to you if you're just like straight up insulting them and you're not actually saying like, hey, this is how you can improve this, or you're saying like, hey, this is probably why this was why this was the case, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I get this was the format of the video too, and this is when they were trying to like make this a goal moving through the to the area. When they go through the area, they're looting the mobs and getting all the pieces of the Titan bark armor. They're getting from the various bosses. They're trying to get the mason shield from the mobs and stuff like that. If you want to show off active blocking and how the mason shield work, I think you probably should start the game off with mason shield. If you are going through an area that's under leveled for you and you're going through it with bad gear, you should probably start the area with bad gear. Like if you want to show off the area, show off the area. If you're wanting to show off tank combat, like it's like that triangle thing, right? Like you see the triangle thing, and
yeah.
And like you can go in two areas, but you have to subtract from one area. Like if you're wanting to show off the area and tank combat, you need to take away.
At this point, I think they shouldn't have said that this is gonna be a tank preview. I think if they change it to something else, it would have been fine.
Some people have said that too. Like, hey, if you take away like tank preview or tank first, and instead call it like tank first pass, which is not
Yeah.
tank first pass, by the way.
Second, I think.
Second or third, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you take away that, like even with that,
Even with that, it would have been fine. Like, actually, it would have been fine. Think about it.
I don't like. Yeah, some people would have probably accepted that thought process, but then there's a lot of people that are like, you're 5-6 years into it, and you've been talking about this stuff for like a long time now. Why are we
Yeah,
just
like,
now hitting?
Okay, wait. Don't think of it that way. Think of it. Okay. If they change the name of the video to, let's say, like to progress to what we've done, and they would have like introduced the tank as a sneak peek, and the people would be interested. He's using a new ability. This and that. Then they would have introduced technical video for the tank. I think people would have been would have been fine with it. I think.
I think some people probably would have. Some people would have still taken it. But we probably would have had more forgiveness, probably labeling it something else besides tank preview. But yeah. I think people still would have. He was still. A lot of it, I do like with the cleric video and the tank video. I think a lot of it is just frustration with waiting on the game. People have been like some like I hear this a lot too. They should stop doing the monthly live stream. I disagree with this thought process. I want them to still do the monthly live stream. I want them to do like updates. I want to see the progress of the game move forward.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people were like, they should stop doing the monthly live stream, and unless they have like 100% good shit to show off. Go full NDA. Stop doing the monthly live stream, stuff like that.
I mean, we've seen that happen before. It was not good for our sanity.
We've seen them go quiet on gameplay and do yeah, I think it would probably fall off people. I think Ash Scratch probably would fall off a lot of people's radar until the game came out or the game
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Game would fall off people's radar. They'd be like hopping off between games until Ash's creation came out. The monthly live streams are good. I still think it allows for content creators to make content and keep promoting your game and stuff like that. Keep watching it. You bring in new people all the time. You're showing off the progress of your game and stuff like that. The people that are like, I only care about combat. I call that stuff. Like they didn't care for the December live stream where they were looking back at everything that was going on with 2022 and talking to the devs. I thought that live stream was great. But a lot of people, some people didn't care for it. They didn't hate it, but they didn't really care for it because it wasn't combat related. They weren't seeing gameplay.
Exactly. Like, there's gonna be those people.
Yeah.
Which basically the only thing that they care about is the game.
They only care about combat. They don't care, like, they're not lore people that like. Then you have like there's a bunch of different people that want a lot of different stuff and like think that the game should be tackled in different ways and what they want to see from it. Then you have like some videos are good for them, some videos are bad for them. Then you have people that like just like you have these cases like the cleric video, like the tank video, where people come together and say like, "Hey, this was just bad. We didn't like what we saw."
Yeah.
I
actually just thought of something that blew my mind.
What up?
VCG is a tsundere.
What?
Yeah, you heard me.
I don't think he would like to hear you say that. He would be. I could honestly hear him saying, hear him like fucking talking shit to you right now.
I know.
Uh,
But think about it. He talks so much. He talks so much like negativity, but he means well at the end of it.
he's talking shit. He's talking shit like he doesn't care about it, or like he's throwing salt around. But then like he's like he actually like really loves it, and really loves the shit that he's talking about. Yeah, I could totally see that. Um,
He's gonna hate me for this.
I think we've. It's not really like without being like just like I hammering home like. I think we've basically talked about a lot of the shit that was going on, like without hammering home like more negativity about what was going on. Like they're like that's basically everything that's going on right now. Like Narc's video on the new live stream was fairly positive. I think his video on the cleric live stream was fairly positive. He tries to take a very positive spin on it. A lot of the other content creators for Ashes Creation were extremely negative. I took it in an extremely negative way. I'm taking it in a negative way. Like I'm giving feedback. I'm giving feedback, right? Like I'm trying to give constructive feedback and come at explaining it to people in a very certain way. Like like I said, no one's gonna listen to you if you just constantly say like, "Hey, your game's dog shit. You're a shit player." Yada yada yada.
Yeah, true. I think if I would put like I'm moderately positive. I think. I still would have enjoyed certain things about it, like it being more technical to
Yeah,
understand what the tank is, but
which they've done those they've done those more constructive like technical videos too, right? Like in Alpha 1, they did the Clash Showcase videos where
because for here at least they're just showing off multiple things at one time, like
Steven going through
tank,
the dungeon.
Through a dungeon, gameplay in general, group gameplay. So like, there's just a mix of things together.
It's a mix of things together. Steven's poor game. The negativity is a mix of like. There's a lot of stuff going on in the video. There's a mix of things with why people are frustrated and why people are probably took it in a negative way. Number one, people are just tired of waiting. They feel like the game should be further along. Steven's gameplay wasn't the greatest.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. People just want to play a game at this point. Like we're in between games right now. Like if you
what do you think of the animations for the tank though? For the abilities that we've seen.
I'm gonna be honest, like especially with the cleric gameplay and stuff like that. Like a lot of it like just looks like improved upon Alpha 1. Like there's not a whole lot that's changed really for me. Like I said, like to actually feel like if I like the game, but I like how the tank like combat works and stuff like that. I think my hands on it. Like right now, like a lot of the animations.
I'm talking about like animations, just purely from what you see.
The overhand swings and like just the animations, like a lot of the animations just look like how they were inside Alpha 1 and Apocalypse.
Animation for Aegis and the abilities.
Aegis. Alright, so like here's what I want to talk about with Aegis.
Mm-hmm.
I think I talked about this last time, or the time before last. I don't like aggro. I think aggro is an out of date. I think aggro is an out of date. I think aggro is an out of date mechanic from when the Holy Trinity was formed. It's in the game to assist AI, assist AI. It's there to make the tank roll. Give the tank roll its personality, right? And it's there to assist the AI in saying, this is who I should be attacking.
But like, I don't know, and this is just me at least. Getting out of the Holy Trinity is really hard.
I'm not saying get rid of the Holy Trinity. There,
I know you're not. I know you're not. I know you're not. But like, just saying that okay, aggro is very old mechanic, and you're just touching in the Holy Trinity essentially.
You are. I think 100%. You're right. Like saying that you have to look at the Holy Trinity. Like look at the Holy Trinity, and does tank work without without aggro? And you have to ask, do I have to rework the Holy? Like you can rework the Holy Trinity to be your own Holy Trinity. It doesn't have to be tank cleric, a tank healer, damage dealer, or a tank support damage dealer. You can make your own Holy Trinity. You can make it a holy duo. You can do a duo system. You can do a holy triangle. Not a holy square. You can add other roles. Like you can remake the Holy Trinity to work for you, or you can keep the Holy Trinity and think of ways to like make tank work outside. He's like aggro doesn't work. Like
I'm just talking about like not the Holy Trinity at the whole. I'm just talking. Okay, if you're saying we're gonna remove aggro, how are you going to make tank relevant?
That's what I was getting at with Aegis.
The whole point of a tank is supposed to mitigate damage, and what's it called? Or because his high HP pool can withstand enemy attacks for longer period of time.
But that's why tank doesn't work in PvP. That's why tank doesn't work in PvP.
Exactly.
Because like, oh, he doesn't do damage, but he's just tanky. And like because there's no aggro system in PvP. In a lot of games, like there's some games that try to implement aggro. We've talked about that before. In PvP, tanks are ignored, and so that's why you move over to an area control tank or a support tank that just buffs the party inside a PvP situation. Yeah. People don't like the support tank because it doesn't fulfill their class fantasy of what a tank should be, and the area control tank is more along the lines of what people want in PvP situation. What Aegis does, and I don't like Aegis in the video. I like the idea of Aegis. I don't like Aegis in the video. It makes it to where the tank has to stand in one spot.
Yes.
And everyone has to stand behind the tank in this bubble around behind the tank.
It's basically a huge ass shield or a bubble.
It's a huge ass shield and bubble, which I do like the idea of. Like having it to where like it's a cone behind the tank or a bubble behind the tank that everyone stands behind is a good idea. I think it lasts for too long for what it is. It should be like
You think so?
Yeah, because like you're not wanting everybody to stand. Like you don't want everybody to stand. Like you don't want the tank to stand still for too long because it's boring for the tank, and you don't want to force everybody behind the tank. Like hey, we have to stand behind the tank. We want benefit Aegis. Like. For too long, right? Because like the tank moves around, the bubble moves around. It's annoying. It's annoying because like then you're blaming your tank for why you're taking damage and shit like that. It's minimizing your movement. So it's just bad for everybody involved, right? If it's shorter, I think it decreases that. Like, hey, everybody get back. Like we had this large AOE is coming in. Like this tank activates Aegis. It everyone behind him is then like saved for that attack and stuff like that. I think you can expand on this further. I like the idea that like, hey, the tank takes damage for like people that are in the bubble kind of in the bubble form kind of thing. He becomes the health bar. That's all fine and well. There's some work that I think the Aegis needs. I think you can also expand on the Aegis by like also doing other abilities. Like say you did a charge. Say like you augmented the charge ability with Aegis, and so or did it made its own skill entirely. You did a charge ability towards one of your allies. The ally then you're like blocking for the like you charge towards the ally and block for them for an attack. You see a fireball or a rain of arrows or some shit, or like so the enemy is doing a large AOE, or like the ally standing in fire or some shit like that. You do a charge, you throw a shield around them, and it provides armor like that you're taking the damage for them instead. You provide armor for them, whatever have you. There are other ways that you like other skills, like you can number one add mobility to the character. You can do that area control thing with that kind of Aegis mentality. Like you can do different things with the tank. Like looking at Aegis is another example of working with what the tank can do, what the tank's class fantasy is, and what the tank is, but getting rid of aggro.
I guess I see where you're coming from. Like make it more. You want like abilities as creative as Aegis, but implemented in another way, essentially.
I like the idea of Aegis, like I said, but I just don't think it's done correctly in the version that they have right now, because it limits everybody involves movement.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with most of what you said. Yeah. I think it's a step in the right direction though.
100%. I agree.
Conceptually wise, I think they can put more tweaks to it. I do agree to that. I would like them to add an animation when he activate Aegis and he gets hit. You would just like not see sparks, but the blue entire shield. You can see like red coming off of.
Like when it's hit, you can see like as a visual effect of like the Aegis is actually working kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be a good add-on to it. Just as an indication, at least for it to work. But other than that, I think it's as an I do agree that they do need to shorten down the time for how long Aegis is working. Maybe increase the radius of it. Do you think they should increase the radius?
I'm not saying it's a bad idea, a bad direction to go. I mean, like I said, I'm not entirely like I like the idea of it. Keep working in that direction of thought process, but I don't think that Aegis lands 100% correctly yet. I think the skill itself needs some more work. Whether or not it's the duration of the skill, whether it's not the increase or decrease of the of its area of effect. Positioning wise and stuff like that, that's entirely I don't have 100% the answers for that.
No biggie.
I do want to get my hands on it, play with it, and I probably could have a better answer for you on that one, more than what I see in the video. Because you don't like. Here's the other thing I want to say. I probably think that Astra Creation would benefit so greatly from a telegraph system like how WildStar had.
Telegraph system.
So you know how did you play WildStar?
No.
Okay. WildStar had a telegraph system where you could tell like where you're like you know how enemies have telegraphs, like you see the cone in front of the enemy cone in front of them, or like a circle around them to show what their abilities are. The player also had telegraphs. Yes. The player also had telegraphs, and I think Astra Creation could benefit from that in a way, because like you can tell where the warrior's hammer ability, where he like he makes that spirit hammer that crashes down onto the ground and does.
Like, you mean like marks on the ground, essentially?
Yeah, marks on the ground that show where your ability is actually affecting. Okay. The Aegis, I think, would benefit from that, showing like, hey, this is the actual area. Like, you know, like, hey, I'm in the area. I'm in the area of effect of the Aegis. Like a little dot, like circle behind the warrior. And then
I think that would help with gameplay. Yeah, I do agree.
Knowing where the actual like the warrior's giant hammer, spirit hammer thing, when it's crashing down, knowing where the fuck that actually does damage. I can't tell if it's a cone in front of them or like a dot, like a circle that's like a distance away from it. Because like the actual effect seems to be like a circle a fair distance away from the tank, and he seems to whiff that ability. Like every time the warrior does that ability, it seems to whiff a couple times, and I can't tell if it's just because it's the fucking circle in front of you that you can't really tell, like because there's no telegraph, it's hard to it's hard to actually pull off, or if it's a cone.
It's crazy to me how long in development, and I never picked that up. It's actually crazy. Like, you're 100% right. I don't know when they're gonna put in the telegraph system. Most MMOs even have it. NPCs or
NPCs
main character wise.
NPCs and enemies have telegraphs. You can tell where the enemy's telegraph is, and you can avoid it. That's one of the main things about a raid and mechanics is like being like you can tell where shit's gonna go, and so you try to avoid it. Like it gives you a chance to like actually survive the mechanic. A lot of games don't have that for the actual character, making it more guessing skill based. One of the things from WildStar that I continuously number one I thought was really good, and people seem to like about WildStar, based on like what you if you like go back and read all the forum posts and like all the feedback on WildStar, or talk to somebody that played WildStar, they liked the telegraph system of like you actually being able to tell where your abilities and enemy abilities and like ally abilities are fucking going. I think Astral Creation would benefit so greatly from an actual telegraph system.
I think so too. I do agree to that statement, yes.
The chain pool is there again. We had that in Alpha 1, but because we used it to kill Steve, so whether or not the skill was actually broken or not is a matter of I guarantee it probably was. It's probably not a matter of debate, but it wasn't changed. People argue this, and that it wasn't changed until we used it to kill Steven in basically his GM super mode. So we like during a war, you can probably go back and see this in recordings. We used it to it was a war against it was a war where Steven was inside the super mode. He was on the attacking side, and he was on the defending side, and the attackers just chain pulled him down constantly and killed him.
Yeah, I could see that.
If you can do that to somebody in a GM super mode, you can do that to basically any player, and it's proof that it's a broken skill that needs to be changed. We have the same ability here. Again, whether or not it can be abused in the same way is up for question.
The bash one?
No, it was the chain pool.
The chain pool. Oh, the chain pool still exists. Nice.
Yeah, the sixth ability on the bar. Aegis we've already talked about. That aura, I'm glowing damage reduction thing. Again, I have to look at it, I have to play with it. He doesn't use it enough for you to really get like a feel if it's in a good spot though. I like the effect on it. I like effects. I liked the I've liked Astral Creation's buff and debuff effects so far, especially inside especially all the way back in Apocalypse, where if you had bleed on you, you could tell you had bleed on you. Like you had like this little thorn thing, like you had those little thorns around you that showed like signified, hey, if you move, you're gonna take damage.
Yeah, I think they've been, at least for buff and debuffs, they've been on point on that for quite a while.
Yeah,
even during APOC, I think they were obvious.
Buff and debuffs, I think are real. They're doing really well with them. actual skill effect wise, probably too fat, probably still too flashy. I think that's the one thing that's like if you have like 250 people all going around and your skills are as flashy as they are right now, even in this video, people still thought it was like a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Um,
Where do you think the direction of the game is gonna go after this?
I probably could not 100% tell you where I think the direction of the game is going to go after this. They could go like I want to see the direction of active blocking. That's one thing that like they're still talking about active blocking. Some people want them to go in a direction where it has a resource, like it's using up stamina, or it has a block bar, like a shield bar resource that it eats up, or something like that, and it's full damage. When you raise up your shield, it's full damage mitigation. Like it's not percentile, it's not percentage, it's not like
It's not percentage.
random
Yeah.
number. It's full on damage reduction, like in Terra. Like people constantly refer to Terra. Terra Lancer, probably some of the best tanking there is in MMO. Terra did combat correctly. A lot of people agree on, and people enjoy the Terra tank.
Okay.
There's a lot of different games that do active blocking and skill blocking. Yeah, they're like seeing the direction active blocking goes and talking about that more in the future. Giving your feedback. Like everybody needs to get the feedback on active blocking and stuff like that. Give the feedback on the game. I probably couldn't say where I think the direction of the game is probably going to go without breaking some kind of NDA.
Oh. So you know. Just kidding. Nah.
I couldn't probably tell you if I knew or not. Like, honestly, like, sometimes the line between what we've talked about in PI and what what we talked about in PI and what we talk about and what's talked about in the live streams blurs the line. So I've been doing it for so long, and like we've just been talking, like stuff's been going through we have conversations about stuff so much that like sometimes I'm scared to even talk because I'm like, am I gonna break an NDA at some point? Like, am I gonna break an NDA at some point? Am I talking about shit that's like under an NDA?
Skip topic.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you without like looking back. Like I try to have things in front of me that like say like, hey, this is something we've definitively talked about. That is something like I don't have to worry about breaking NDA. And so like
Yeah.
I can't tell like have they talked about what they want the next live stream to be, or is that something we've talked about in PI? Is like how much have we talked about like what was a Q&A from the live stream question, because a lot of people have tuned that shit out. And I kind of do too. I listen to it and try to I absorb it, but sometimes it's like, was that a question from the live stream, or was that a question that was answered in a in a private Q&A kind of thing? So I have to be careful about that sometimes.
Yeah. I don't blame you, honestly.
Yeah. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. Just to wrap up, any kind of final thoughts on the live stream, on the tank, active blocking, the UI, anything you want to talk about?
No, I think my points have come across. I'm just gonna make it short, like a small recap. Like, I think to mitigate damage from the crowd of people that thought this was negative, they should have changed the title of the video. and made a technical video for the tank.
Which they did end up doing.
Yeah. So, but other than that, I got to see some cool stuff. I enjoyed some of the live stream, yes, and what's it called? Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens next time.
We will see what happens next time. Just one last thing. We had I can't really tell if you can see that really well. From the well, on the stream, because it's we do a small version. But like we had a comment on the last video. Hill said and he's got like King of the Hill symbol. Cosmetics from like our last conversation about cosmetics, I think. Cosmetics does not mean anything anymore in MMORPGs. A cosmetic has been initially made in MMORPGs to show off because you earned it by playing, not because you bought it in a cash shop. It killed the fame of a character in PvE in general. Do you think? Do you agree that like cosmetic shops in MMORPGs have killed the the kind of earned cosmetics, like the notoriety and fame of the earned cosmetics earned inside an MMORPG? I think that's kind of why content creators like Asmongold don't allow cosmetic shops inside like his mount off and like his cosmetic showcases. Cosmetic
which is fair enough, but I do agree to an extent where if you do have a cosmetics shop, it does devalue what you get in game. Yes. But as long as the in-game version is special and it's unique and you have to put the effort to get that uniqueness, I think it will still have value. Not the same amount.
I think that's the hope for Ash Creation, because that's what they keep talking about and keep trying to show.
Yep.
Most games that's not the case, right? On most games, like the like if you want something to look good, it's the cosmetic shop.
Yeah, pretty much.
What do you feel about the idea of? And I've had this conversation with a couple people. There's a split argument here of buying cosmetics. You shouldn't be able to buy a cosmetic and wear it from the get-go. Buy a super cool cosmetic and wear it from the get-go. It should have a gear/level requirement tied to it. Versus people that want to buy a cosmetic and look cool from the very beginning.
It's a very I think that would be a very controversial topic, because at the end of the day you're telling a person, yo, buy this cosmetic for this amount of money. So in his logical brain, I should be able to wear this when I want.
What does your brain go to? Well, if you buy a cosmetic, do you want to do you want to be able to wear that cosmetic as soon as you buy it?
Most probably, yes.
Yeah, I think that's how most people feel. But there are people that feel like, hey, if you buy a cosmetic, you shouldn't have this instant cool factor. You should have to earn the cool factor.
But here's the thing, Yokai. People think of buying a cosmetic is something, it has to be extravagant or something that's cool. But I think they're able to make low level gear cosmetics that look nice. It's different, but it doesn't look that off.
It might depend on pricing. Yeah, I'm not gonna say you're wrong. It probably.
I'm not saying like same price point. No, hell no.
I'm not. I'm just saying this. Like, I think I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I do think it's price point though, and I think based on how the Ashes Creation cosmetics have been going, where you have had the last couple, like the last, like a lot of the cosmetics for like several months now have been not piquing a lot of people's interest, and then they went back to like a more extravagant kind of cosmetic thing with the December cosmetic with the dragon stuff
But yeah,
and this
because
cosmetic, and
at the end of the
people like
day,
them a
there's
lot
like a
better.
price tag on it,
That's
and
probably like,
people
yeah,
will like if I'm gonna pay like okay, a $15 for a cosmetic per se, I expect it to be good, you know.
yeah. Well, that's
If
like,
someone tells me like, "Oh, buy this normal cosmetic, you look a little bit unique for like $4," I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm down."
but you're like. So there's the thought process of like, why am I buying trash gear cosmetics? I'm just gonna replace it with other shit later on, like a better looking set here
I
to my
mean,
leveling process and stuff like that. And then
yes, but
why
again, you have role play reasons you
you
can
have,
do it
yeah,
for.
yeah, you have
You
roleplay
have
reasons.
and um, I want to look nice. It doesn't like necessarily mean that I have to be, even if I change my gear, I would still be able to wear that cosmetic. There's nothing stopping me.
All right. We're probably end it there. We'll probably have this conversation again next time we have a cosmetic conversation, which will be when the cosmetic switch over. We'll probably when the cosmetic switch over.
Yep.
We'll probably have a tank discussion again in the future. Hopefully, I'm wanting to get some more people on to talk about that. So we might have some more people on for that for stuff like that in the near future. But for right now, thanks everybody for that showed up today, and thanks for that. Thank you if you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you for watching it on YouTube. I'm gonna try to get the podcast on other podcast services as well, like on other like recording stuff. I just like the audio
Yeah.
wise on other podcasting services. Think about doing that. I'm just, like I said, I'm lazy at doing content creation. I need to stop being lazy about doing content creation and actually do it. Thank you, Faisal, for showing up today. Sad that
Anytime.
Stackerson couldn't make it. But yeah, bye everybody. Catch you next week.
We